1959.
1959 is the year of Alaska's admission to the U.S. as our 49th state. A landmark event, something many Alaskans would hear about in the early 60s. And in that year of 59, our great country would continue to expand, soon adding Hawaii and Israel. 1959 is a year, like so many, that begins with January 1st. New Year's Day, Cuba, Fulgencio Batista flees Havana. In what would go down as the last time a Latino in the Northern Hemisphere left work early, Cuba's Presidente y Dictador Fulgencio Batista takes what he can carry and cedes the country to Fidel Castro and his ragtag band of bougie Marxists. Though actually having fewer communists than a typical Hollywood Writers Guild locker room, this tiny island off Florida's coast was now an important part of the cast, with a supporting role in the biggest and hottest production, the Cold War. Batista would spend the year searching the world for a place to quietly settle down with his 300 million, and Americans would turn to shopping elsewhere for cigars, sugar, and second basemen. January 22nd, the Knox mining disaster. Water breaches the River Slope mine in Port Griffith near Pittston, Pennsylvania. 12 miners are dead. 3 minutes later, ripped from the headlines, Pete Seeger composes his protest anthem. The Knox mine disaster. Water breaches the River Slope mine in Port Griffith near Pittston, Pennsylvania. 12 miners are dead.
12 miners are dead.
3 minutes after that, the folk legend penned, "Talkin' mean old coffee shop owner smashed my banjo" blues. But for the first ever generation of American teenagers, 1959 will forever be remembered as the year the music died. February 3rd, Clear Lake, Iowa. Pilot Roger Peterson takes to the sky in an icy plane with passengers Giles Perry Richardson, Richard Stephen Valenzuela, and Charles Hardin Holly.
No.
Hey,
No.
What? What are you doing?
Absolutely not.
What?
You are not turning this into another thing about Buddy.
Okay.
Holly.
Okay.
No.
They don't deserve it.
Get back to work.
Okay. February 6th, Cape Canaveral, Florida. The first successful test fire of a Titan intercontinental ballistic missile. The dark possibility of global nuclear annihilation comes to define an era, inspiring Failsafe, Dr. Strangelove, and a Muslim maniac to be named later.
If I was there in 1959.
Let's do launch. March 9th, Los Angeles, California. Toy maker Mattel releases the first ever Barbie doll, providing young girls excitement and fun for nearly 6 minutes before adults ruin it for everyone with their idiotic debates about Barbie's cultural significance. But I can see what feminists mean by Barbie's unattainable body. Look at her head. Something like that would take years to develop in the gym, or in the laboratory, or in the core of a distant alien planet. But in 1959, no one can deny Barbie her beloved iconic status as a tall, beautiful, white woman. Huh, that's weird. Why did they beep that?
Meanwhile, in the space race,
May 28th, NASA launches 2 female primates, Miss Abel and Miss Baker, who soar 300 miles above the Earth in a rocket as part of NASA's Cramden space program to one day send a woman to the moon. Making her story, these 2 gals served to inspire women everywhere with their 16-minute flight, because for 9 of those minutes, they'd achieved weightlessness. The year before 1959, the Soviets had put a female dog in orbit. But here in the good old US of A, we bring our girls back home safe, unlike them commies who left a bitch to die up there. It means female dog. Look it up. June 20th, Hawthorne, California, boy genius Brian Wilson turns 17. More as this important story develops. July 17th, the first skull of Australopithecus is discovered by Louis Leakey and his wife Mary in the Olduvai Gorge of Tanzania. The couple were later linked to but never charged in a series of suspicious grisly beheadings. And now let's beheading to Rwanda. November 1st, Hutu politician Dominique Mbonyimatwa is savagely beaten by a group of Tutsi youth, triggering the social revolution which ultimately drove thousands of Tutsis into decades-long exile. So it was a win-win, and that should have settled it. But,
1959.
November 15th, the Clutter family of Holcomb, Kansas is brutally murdered at their farm by two dim-witted ex-cons, inspiring Truman Capote's megaseller, In Cold Blood. The book would practically launch the modern true crime genre, a favorite of women everywhere who lack a personality but want to seem interesting or edgy. Just remember, ladies, behind every one of those stories you salaciously devour is a dead family, or dead girl, or dead wife. The Clutter story has a happy ending regarding Dick and Perry, because in 1959 Kansas, murder still got you strung up. December 2nd, in France, the Malpassé Dam collapses and water flows over the doomed town of Fréjus, killing 412 and bathing thousands. After years of study by engineers and geologists, it's now believed that if that French dam had held, nearly half of the 412 killed would have been unfaithful. In '59, tail fins would reach their peak height on cars like the Cadillac Eldorado and the Chevrolet Impala, with their enormous trunk space big enough to fit even the biggest East Coast Italian businessmen.
1959, kind of blue.
Trumpeter and heroin enthusiast Miles Davis would release his influential album, Kind of Blue, which would go on to sell hundreds of copies, becoming the biggest-selling jazz album of all time. The first nylon pantyhose would arrive in stores marketed as panty legs. An instant success, the stockings became the must-have item found under the Christmas tree that year for women on the go, bank robbers, and subway Romeos. But before we close the books on 1959, it would also go down as the year the first known human with HIV died in the Congo. Patient 0 apparently died with a broken heart after Patient 1 attempted to flee their unholy union by escaping to the moon. It was 1959. That was a year that is. What a year, 1959. I can say with all confidence, pretty sure there's never going to be another 1959. Am I right? There was so much to that. That loss of innocence with Buddy Holly dying. You know, he was only 22. 22. Unbelievable. Anyway, in honor of Buddy and J.P. Richardson and the Mexican fella, from this point forward, I would humbly accept anyone calling me the medium bopper. Someone's got to carry that, and I'm willing to do it. Just about everybody in this video that you saw is dead. Even the monkeys. They died. You know, the one monkey, Baker, I didn't tell you, I didn't want to ruin the video, but she, Baker, dies a couple of days after the splashdown. They're removing the electrodes from her brain, something goes nutty, next thing you know, you got a dead monkey on your table. Come to the after party and I'll fill you in. Thanks for watching. Click the like button and leave a comment. It helps.